How's it going, guys? It's just Michael here. In this tutorial, I'm just going to teach us how to make somewhat of an elegant hero and how to overlap your containers and get background images in properly. Because the way the columns, well, the containers structure themselves, you can't just drop an image in and move it across. Well, to make it look good anyway. So this will show you a bit of a process behind it. So I'll start from scratch and show you exactly how I've done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in a container again. I'm going to set my container to, I want it to be, I think it's vertical. Actually, it'd probably be horizontal on this one. Now we'll go with vertical. We don't need to worry about it. Now we want to put it to the center axis just to start with. We can always change it at the end. Like always, put your 25 padding from left to right. And then you want to set your width to 100%. So your main container is your holder. You don't have to do it this way, but this way it's going to hold the whole screen, especially for what we're doing. Then we want to come down to here. We're going to set the VH. And I'm going to set it to 100. So that way it's taking up 100% of the screen. Now the next step I'm going to do is we're going to close the layout. We're going to come down to probably gradient overlay here, and we're going to set background. I'm going to go and put the first one on. Now I preset colors just to save myself some time. So I'm going to set the first one as white and the second one as nice little shade color here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put that at 50, the other one at 50. So now it breaks it up, and we should be able to just put that at 90. So it's taking up half the screen. So that's kind of like my base plate where I start, and then I'll go, okay, let's add in another container here. So you don't have to go through this way. You can press the plus sign down the bottom here. So now that we've got our kind of like our inner container, what I'm probably going to do here is this container's done a little bit differently. So this one will set to 1300. Then we're going to give it a maximum height of probably about 700. So we don't really need to take up the full screen because, you know, you can put your header along the top here if you wanted to, and you might have extra content down the bottom here. But I'm pretty happy with this sizing. Now we're probably going to jump back across to the content tab here, and we're going to put on the horizontal. So we want it to go horizontal. And then you got your center alignment, and we're going to put a center again. Now, there's not really going to be content put into this tab. It's actually going to be where we put our image, but I'll put that in. Actually, I'll do it now because I'm pretty sure I can get it right from the image. So we're going to select background in the tab here, and we're just going to drop this image in. So when you drop the image in, it's going to take up the full box. So first of all, we're going to come through here and set our alignments. So we want it to be center right because we want it to be aligned, because this box is going to be center. So the text is going to be in the center. So we'll put it to the center right, turn it on no repeat, and then we want to put it down to custom sizing, and we probably want to set it to about 700px. Just double check what I had on the other screen. Yep, 750. So 750 by the looks of it. Now the next part you want to do, actually we probably just get away with that. We don't have to worry about adjusting any more adjustments on it at the moment. So now that we've got that there, we can go ahead and add our next column. So just to give you a bit of a breakdown, we're going to be adding 2 columns in here. I mean, well, not columns, containers, sorry. So 2 more. So what's going to happen is we're going to break these up into 2 sections. So I'll just add those in. So we've got 2 in here now. So the first one, I'm going to probably set to, we're going to make it a vertical layout. So everything's going to fold down. We're going to then probably go with 50 on the padding again. And we probably don't need to set anything in here because the blue one's going to control it anyway. So I'll just do it center axis, start, center. It's basically what we're doing, just doing centers. So first of all, we'll set the width on this to 60%. So we're going 60% of the screen. I'm going to set the other one to 40% because we want it to take up the last part of it. We won't set the last container yet. We'll get the first one done. So first we're going to drop in a header and text box and a button. So first things first, I'm just going to copy my text across from the other screen. Chuck her in. Now, because it's a hero image for SEO purposes, I usually go with the hero like header 1. So it's just the way SEO works. It'll scale down. And I don't worry about setting any of this unless you've already got it all preset and styled. We want to come into here, come down to text, and I'm just going to leave the color. Actually, I'll just set it to black. You could probably make it like a grayish color if you wanted to, like a dark black, not quite black. And we're going to set this to 100. Now you'll notice it's overlapping with the image, and that's what we're going for in this. So, and the text isn't quite right, so I'm going to set it to Corn. I think it's COR actually. Yeah, there we are. And we'll just play around here. 500 is not enough. Probably about 700 isn't too bad. Yeah, let's go with 600 actually. 600 isn't bad. Now, just by default, just for purposes, I always go with capitalize, just so it fixes it in case you put text in there and you don't want to get in trouble that part. So next, I'm probably going to set this to 0.8. Actually, that's not right. We need to set it to EM first. So set it to EM. We could probably go a little bit more on the text here. So probably bring it up to about 9. There's plenty of room. It's just and I'm going to bring this text up actually. It's not enough. 110. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. Now you can always play around with the sizing here to try and get it so it overlaps the image but not too much and your lines kind of like mold in. Worst case scenario, you can actually just shrink the box. So if you wanted to shrink it down, you could and just get it to the perfect size. So you've got that option there as well. Now we're just going to put the next one in. I'm just going to copy the content from the other screen and bring it across. So we'll just chuck that in here. Now, because it's like part of the hero, you usually want to bring this text up a little bit, so it's a lot more like noticeable to the customer the visitor coming to your website. So usually in these cases, I'll go with probably around 18 to 22. So we'll just put 20 on this one. And I'm going to give it set it to EM. And we're going to set that to 1.8. Now, the reason why I use EM over Pixel, it's just better on browsers. Honestly, it's just a smarter decision to go, and it's the industry standard anyway, so they probably usually go a little bit less, like 1.5, but I like 1.8. Now what we're going to do here is we don't want this to come all the way out because it's just a little bit too much, so I think we'll set this one to 400, and then we'll bring it back in a little bit. So I'm thinking about 350 px on that. That's probably a little bit too much. I mean less. 350. And now we'll just jump down to the button. Now the button's going to be nice and simple. I'm just going to preset it to, I think it's large. I've got it on the other screen here. Yep. So this is handy in a way. You can set it to large or extra large. So we'll just go with large. We'll come back over here. We'll probably put a little bit more extra padding onto it. So I like my buttons to be a little bit wider. Looks a little bit more elegant. Gives it more room. And then we'll come down here and we'll probably, I think I've got it set to 15. Yep. Now I usually never go 15 because I'm a bit OCD in this regard. And we're going to go the same as our header font. You could probably go same as the body font, but I'm going to go with the header, and we're going to put the weight up on this to about 600. And that's really small for some reason, so I'm just going to bring this up to about this. Just going to double check something in here. So we've got the theme settings, no typos in. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've got the font up to 20. And we're going to set it to white, and we're going to make the button black. Just to make it stand out. You don't really have to go this color. You can probably go one of your dark theme colors. So I might actually just set it as this. And I'm going to bring the font to capitalize. I usually like capitalize with buttons. Looks a lot more nicer and learn more. And another thing I like to do is put letter spacing. So you can put one letter spacing. It just changes it up. So that way when you bring it down a bit, it doesn't look so bad. It's, yeah, 16 is good. We can go with that. Actually, we'll just capitalize that and bring it up to 18. Nope, it's 20. 20 looks good. And the chance I might increase that, we'll see once we get towards the end here. So now that we've got our first container done with our content, we can close that one up. We'll jump over to the second one. Now, the placement of the second one, we're going to come over to here and we're going to go, we want it to be at the end of the box. And we want the alignment to be at the end, and we want to kind of put it on a center axis. We don't want to put any padding in here at all. So not like this one here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go, okay, so we're going to drop in a icon. So the icon's first, and then we're going to drop in a button. Now we've got both in, we can come, okay, horizontal alignment. That's what I should have put in first. And then we're probably going to switch these around. So you've got your icon and your button across here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the icon. We're just going to type in play. Check a play icon in of your choice, whichever one you want. Come over to the Topograph here. And I think I'm going to go about 20. Nope. 55. Nope. Too big. 45. We'll go about 45, and we'll set this to wide as well. So you can't see it at the moment. That's fine. Now we're going to come down to the background. We're going to give it a background color. So I'm probably going to go with something a little bit off, so it's a little bit different. So we'll start with, we might start with this color here. And then we're going to come up to the layout because we want to increase the padding around the icon. So we'll start with the left to right. I'm pretty sure I've got it set to, I had a feeling it was that 15, 15, and then 10 and 10. That's relatively where I want it. You could probably come down a little bit on these, make it a little bit more. So we'll go, so I can't stand it being an odd number like that. Yeah, it's going to have to be 17, I think. That's relatively all right. Now, what we're going to do is before we center align the container the way we want, we'll just come into here. Actually, that's not what I want it to do. Center align the axis, not put it at end, sorry. So now we've got the button in here centered. We'll come back over to the button and we'll go probably large. I'll go extra large. So now we've got extra large. We're going to come across, we're just going to put watch video. Actually, needs to be watch video. So we're going to set the background first, just to break it up. I'm going to probably go with a darker color here. And then I'll probably put a white so the text stands out a little bit so it's consistent. Might change this to black. See how I feel when we get to the end. But now we'll just get the topograph right, which it's relatively close, so actually that's not too bad. I don't mind that, to be honest. I don't even know what the size that is. 16. Yeah, no, we'll bring it up. We'll go about 18, 20. We'll bring it the same as the other one. We won't worry about the line height because we're not actually putting anything in there. I think about 600, and by default I'll just capitalize it. Now the next thing we want to do is I'll come back over to the container here because now we're going to properly set our margins here. So we don't need this center axis, we want it to be end, so it's down the end here. We've got everything else set. Come back up to the top to style tab, go to layout, and we'll go, okay, we want it to be probably about 25 off the right hand side, sorry. So it's going to bring it, actually no, it's padding that we want, not margins, sorry. So we want about 25 padding, bring it in, and then we want to get the margins. Actually, no, not margins. Quickest way to do it is actually scroll down and use the bottom measurement. I'm just seeing what measurement I use on the other one, which is 35. So positioning bottom 35. So we just brought it up a little bit. So it kind of overlaps. You can kind of judge pretty much how high it needs to be. If you wanted to be a stickler for numbers, you could probably work it out and get it pixel perfect. So now what we'll do is we'll look at preview mode. So basically that's our hero. So it's nice, simple hero. You know, you've broken up your colors. You've got your image in the background here. And you've got your play button, or if just say you've got a video that's, especially if this was say for an interior designer or something like that, maybe they've got a video showcasing their property. And I'll just do one last thing here. So on the hover styles, you can bring it in. You're now in hover style. We'll come down to our background and we'll probably put the lighter color in. We might just go with this one, just this one. So yeah, I just kind of made these colors up on the fly. There's nothing real about them. They're actually pretty crap, to be honest. So you can come over to here and set all your hover colors. Try and keep the consistency with the hover. You might make this one here go to the other yellow. Actually, we're going to set that to the lighter tone, turn that off, set this one to the higher tone. So we'll just have a quick look at that again. So now you've got your hover colors. It makes it stand out. And I'd probably make this button a little bit bigger as well, so it just stands out more. So I'd come into here and I'd go extra large. That's probably all it needs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you don't need to overcomplicate it, but the main thing here is if I was to try and put the image into the second container here and put it into the center, it just won't fold across underneath the text. So it's important to put it into the container behind it. So build your container behind, put it as a background, build 2 containers over the top of it. So that way, and you have a lot of control over the image as well. So for example, if we wanted to, now something I try to stay away from is in using imported images out of other libraries, because you can't really control the sizing of the file too well. So this image here is quite large, it's portrait, so I probably wouldn't use it. In my personal opinion, I'd probably try and make your own image, because you're not going to be able to realistically muck around with the height too much unless you muck around with the container. So that's why originally I set this container to 700. So if I did set a portrait image like I have done now, which isn't too bad, you've got to use the actual height here of that back container, if that makes sense. So I'll leave it at that. I'll save it there, and yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea on how to make a decent looking hero. And just remember, learn your containers and learn where your placement is, because it's critical that you get that right. If you don't get that right, everything's going to look shit. Rightio, that's about it. Have a good one.